in Brazil, where a verdict for ex-president Jair Bolsonaro has put his political future on pause, at least for now. The country's top election court voted to ban Bolsonaro from running for office for 8 years. He was found guilty of abuse of power while in office and making false claims about the integrity of the country's voting system. A lot to talk about. Let's turn to Euan Marshall. He's an editor of the Brazilian Report, and he joins us from Sao Paulo. Euan, this decision is really not all that surprising, is it?
No, I think since Jair Bolsonaro left office in October of last year, when he lost the presidential election, it kind of became quite clear that the electoral courts and potentially even criminal courts, now that he's lost a lot of his legal prerogatives, it became quite clear that they would start to go after the ex-president. And in this particular case, a conviction was, it was all but certain. I think that was had been reported in the media for the last few months that the Superior Electoral Court were very likely to convict Bolsonaro in this case. But of course, it's not the only case that's against Bolsonaro. There's a lot more to come, it sounds like.
So explain to our viewers who are not familiar with how the legal system there works. This was not a criminal case against him. Am I correct?
No, yeah, you're correct. This particular case, it stems from a complaint which was made in July of last year by a political party. They suggested that Bolsonaro, because in July of last year, he hosted a group of foreign ambassadors and diplomatic officials at his presidential residence. And during that meeting, he gave them like a PowerPoint presentation filled with all of his conspiracy theories about Brazil's electoral system, which he always said was rigged and was easy to manipulate, which, he never had evidence for that. And the question is that because he was the president, he abused his power to be able to invite all of these ambassadors to the presidential residence. These were powers that, his rival candidates wouldn't enjoy. So that is why he was adjudged to have abused his political power. So yeah, you're correct. It's not a criminal investigation, although there are some criminal investigations against Jair Bolsonaro, which could come to the fore in the coming months.
So has he said anything about this decision?
Yeah, he came out today saying that suggestions that he was trying to move the needle on the election were unfounded, because in his words, if he had really been trying to mess with the electoral process, he would have won the election. And he didn't win the election. But it seems like Bolsonaro and a lot of his entourage and a lot of his supporters were really quite resigned to the conviction already. So there had been, it didn't come as a surprise to Bolsonaro or his supporters. Now the question now is, what comes next for him and for the far right in Brazil?
So that's a great question. That was going to be my next question. What does come next?
Well, yeah, as you mentioned at the start, this is Bolsonaro now ineligible for office until 2030. So that means he is going to miss 2 municipal elections, and he's also going to miss the presidential election in 2026. So that's a long time without being able to take public office. So the question is, who is going to come in and fill that vacuum which has been left by